if you hear me.
Today on SmackDown Super Show, John Cena and Logan Paul give Cody and Jay a yeet-down, Seth invades SmackDown, systematically taking out the competition, and the breakup is imminent between Solo and Jacob, plus much, much more. This is Holla If You Hear Me, and welcome back to another SmackDown recap. I'm Fraz, and joining me as always is the kayfabe assassin, Mr. Andy Nero, and the ring historian, Dirty Dave. If you're new here, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and share the shit out of this video. Without further ado, gentlemen, please give me your thoughts on this week's SmackDown.
Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
So good. Probably the best SmackDown in months.
A long time.
It's a super show, so it needed to be. But oh wow, what a go-home show!
A super show indeed. I didn't realise that they were going to have wrestlers from both brands on the show. Because they only do that for a massive PLE, don't they?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Nick Aldis did some social media on it yesterday. So yeah, it was a surprise. They must have only decided literally the day of or the day before.
I suppose if everyone's already in town for Money in the Ladder and Worlds Collide and everything, you might as well do it, eh?
Yeah.
Well.
Right, yeah. So, Seth invading SmackDown. Good promo to start the show off, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought he was pretty much everywhere, all over the show. I have made notes for a change. I've just literally put here, Seth's faction is all over this show. Fingerprints everywhere. An ominous and looming threat to everyone in the WWE.
Yeah, I think it was quite NWO-esque, really. They sort of dominated the whole show. Great start to the show. The crowd was jacked to begin with as well. I thought it was interesting that Seth Rollins was in blue, which is SmackDown colours, and his promo was interrupted by another group, Solo Sikoa, and Solo Sikoa came out in red, which is sort of Raw colours. I thought Solo was on fire as well during this. I thought that whole segment was fantastic. I loved the Braun Fatu face-off. But I think really the highlight of that entire segment was the guy in the crowd that had a sign that said, "Put Paul Heyman in Fortnite."
Yeah, I saw that as
He
well.
kept appearing, didn't he?
Yeah.
On the subject of Paul, sorry to interrupt, Fraz, I did want to just also say, I know I've made a big deal about CM Punk having the mic on Raw. I do feel that I want to hear Seth less. I want Paul to be the mouthpiece of the group. The whole time in the Bloodline, he talked. This should be his... It's the reason he's there. He should be the one as the mouthpiece. He should be the one doing the talking and conveying to the people Seth's vision. Have Seth take the mic from time to time and do his whole, I'm a revolutionary, I'm a visionary, blah, 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 which is getting more and more dull as the weeks go on. But Paul can give you the levity that Seth can't, if you know what I mean.
I think we definitely get that later on in the show, don't we?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Later on, we get that, and that was on point for me.
Great.
But, as another side little note, you mentioned Seth's gear. I think it's a nod to a Tekken character called Kazuya, who wears that gear, almost exactly that, but with less leather involved, in one of the games.
Yeah, it's not a dig on the gear or anything. I just thought it was interesting that he was in SmackDown branded colours, and Solo was in red. Very, very rarely are things done by accident. So it'd be interesting to see what's happening there. It could signify, if either of them win the Money in the Bank, which title they're going to go after. Could have something to do with the brand split, or it could even signify something to do with the King of the Ring. And whoever wins that will, depending on which championship they'll go for. But obviously, we'll talk about that later in the show, because that was a promo on SmackDown about the King and Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, I like that promo. That was cool.
Interesting as well, they're going to do 4 fatal 4-ways as the first round matches. Then it goes into
semis in the final,
the tournament. Yeah, so it's big, because I suppose you've only got 3 weeks to build to it, so you haven't got time to do multiple qualifiers. But Fatal 4-Ways, interesting. Money in the Bank's a triple threat qualifiers. It's good. I like it. I'm excited. But again, let's get back to SmackDown.
Are they doing the Queen and King of the Ring as a PLE, or is it just part of SummerSlam, or what's the deal?
Night of Champions.
Yeah, so all the qualifiers and semi-finals are going to be on Raw and SmackDown, and then the 2 finals will be at Night of Champions.
Right, thank you for clarifying, because I didn't actually catch that bit. I was doing a box at the time, so I didn't watch that. But thank you for clarifying.
That's good. It's good. It looks good. And then the winners get title shots at SummerSlam. So it's almost overshadowing Money in the Bank a little bit first. So I'd be interested to see if the Money in the Bank winners are more long-term plans or if they're short-term plans. Because if they're short-term plans, we haven't got long to change the title twice, potentially, in the build-up to SummerSlam. Interesting. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
What I did think was interesting was, you touched on it earlier, Dave, the interaction between Bron and Jacob. Surely a future WrestleMania main event or
sure.
a huge match on the card.
That is Money in the Bank. That is Money in the Bank, that match.
That was good. And did you notice that when they announced Bronson Reed, they called him Bronson Reed, but then when Seth was in the ring, he called him Big Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
I thought they almost listened to you there, Dave.
I know. Well, the ring announcers do, so hopefully, it's just a question of giving Seth a slap around the back of the head. But yeah, I'd lose the big. We don't need gimmicks in this group. This group is legit.
They are serious, aren't they? Almost as serious as Jimmy Uso, who came and crashed the party.
He did.
And him and JC Mateo had a mediocre match, I would say. There's nothing surprising there or great.
I thought the highlight of the match, and it's not really the match itself, the most entertaining part of the match was Solo. Solo's work outside of the ring, the character work he was putting in outside the ring was better than anything going on in the ring. I actually watched that bit live on the broadcast rather than watching it after the fact. So obviously where there were ad breaks on Netflix, you don't, and it's just rest holds. And I was like, this is boring as sin. JC just holding Jimmy in a sleeper hold. But at the same time, Solo's spending the whole 3 minutes just jibing, sort of ribbing and like just sort of saying shit to Jimmy and Mateo. And it was, that was worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
You done yet? Kick his ass, JC.
Yeah, that was the point of the rest hold.
All you got to do is say, all you got to do is say you've had enough and you can come join us and it's over. That sort of thing. It's awesome. All character work.
It was very, very good. And again, I thought Solo from that entire first 2 segments was great. I've got to say, and I know you're going to leap to the defense straight away, but I'm basing this on just what he's done since he's come into WWE. I'm not feeling JC at all. There's some massive things missing. I didn't see that he was dominant. I didn't see that he was. Didn't see any signs of him being anything special in this match at all. Didn't see any decent moves. Didn't see any sort of explosiveness. Didn't see any form of dominating. I think he looks dreadful. I'm really worried. I'm really worried about him. I can't see him developing into much at the moment.
I probably agree 80%, 20% not. In his defence, he's very agile and athletic for his size. His standing moonsault he does in the ring is good. Did he drop kick someone off the top? I can't remember.
Yeah, he did a little drop kick. But,
and he's decent, but
I suppose I don't
like
see
you
anything unique.
Thanks for the convo cutter, Dave. Jesus Christ, have you not had enough on bloody JC Mateo? I slagged him off the other week. I do agree, though. I don't know where he's going to go. He is super average at the moment. Mid, as Andy would say, as the Americans say. And you just can't see a path for him to dominate.
I don't see anything unique.
Yeah, even when he had a backstage segment with Solo later in the show, and he was questioning, and then Jacob was around the corner, wasn't he, and heard everything that Solo said. Even then, it was just like he's almost questioning Solo's leadership or authority already, and it's just like, well, you're supposed to be his right-hand man. You just fall in line. But yeah, I don't see what they're going to do with him.
I think
Too
it's
many
still early
chefs.
days. Yeah, I think it's still early days. He's never been one of wrestling's great talkers. In all the things I've ever seen him in. But to be fair, he was hidden from that by the fact that he was working Japan, where they didn't really need to talk. All you needed to do was swear a lot, and the Japanese never understood what the fuck you were going on about, and you could get away with it. But yeah, I don't actually remember him ever cutting a promo in AEW, because he did do a few shows in AEW, and I don't remember him actually ever cutting a promo. I think he was always brought in as a muscle. I think he worked with Jericho a couple of times. I think he was either one of Jericho's lackeys or one of MJF's lackeys, one of the two. And working with, I don't think he even worked with Ospreay at that time. But yeah, he's never been a great talker. But he is mustard in the ring. What I will say, he is mustard in the ring when given the right opponent. I think his opponents will be the smaller guys. When he faces people like Penta and Phoenix and Chad Gable, that would be a hell of a match. Chad Gable versus JC will be a hell of a match if they ever get to that.
Yeah, there's no question he's full of potential. I just don't think the look's right. I don't think the style's right. I don't think the character's right. And at the moment, I don't see anything unique in him to make me want to care about him more than anyone else his size. I'd rather watch Bronson Reed and all the current guys we've already got. There's nothing pulling me into him at the minute.
Indeed. Andrew, you said offline you really enjoyed this next match. Piper Niven, Selena Vega.
Yes.
I didn't really understand it. They seem to be fighting every week.
Okay, so yes, there is a ridiculously long ongoing feud between Zelina Vega and the Hervis. This, I hope, will be the the long-term blow-off for it. But I fear it's just going to be like putting a pin in it. I actually did enjoy the match for what it was, which was a not over Zelina Vega and a semi-over Secret Hervis having a semi-decent street fight. You can't expect catch as catch can melts a 5 stars, but it was what it was, and it was half decent. I thought the moves, the harder core moves that they were doing were pretty cool. I liked Julia's involvement. I enjoyed Chelsea and Alba Fire's involvement, getting the tables and stuff. Nice little Dudley callback. And it was just decent. It was a bit of fun, and I rate that. But Julia is going to save the US title from obscurity very soon.
Yeah, the finish to that match was great, wasn't it? That was about the only thing I enjoyed in the match. And Julia is quality. I know you might find it strange for me to bring heap praise on a female superstar, but yeah, I think she's great. Really liked her outfit coming down to the ring for the 6-man tag.
She is very good. I in terms of her look, my only criticism of her look at the moment is that since she came back to NXT and then obviously got moved up after Mania, is I don't like the dreads. I don't like the braids. I think they look a bit shitty. When she was in NXT first time, she had a really, really nice sort of like do, and it was really, really nice. I think this just looks a bit sort of ugh. I don't like it, but it's just a nitpick, and yeah.
Very, very similar to the Stephanie Vakir broken English comment you made last week as well. We should have our own section.
Nero's nitpicks.
Sorry. Yeah, Nero's nitpicks.
Oh my God.
This week, dreadlocks.
That's
Jesus
a whole new
Christ.
show. Yeah, I thought the match was all right. I think the complete contrast to the previous match, the outside interactions, I don't think were anywhere near good enough from Chelsea. We're in a street fight, and you've got 2 people outside the ring not doing anything, and they're also not they weren't doing anything great on the mic, which is a bit of a shame because Chelsea's got loads of potential. So logically, I didn't get that because they could have got far more involved than they did, and Chelsea's got the ability to do a lot more. Like I say, like Solo could have. Not keen. I don't care to that much, but I'm not keen on Slim Jim sponsoring the tables. It seemed like this match was made, this sort of match, just so they could bust out a Slim Jim table. But the finish was great, and Julia's fantastic. But I think 8 weeks of a not over US champ versus a not over faction is quite enough, unless Chelsea and Vega are actually going to do something again. It was okay, but it didn't make any sense to me, and I don't think anyone came out of it looking half decent apart from Julia.
Are they really not over? Like, I think that's slightly harsh. I think the Secret Service is actually over because Chelsea's over.
Chelsea's over, but I don't think the Secret Service is over, no.
Well, you said on the last week's one that they weren't over.
Did I? I did question in a previous episode what is their motivation for being there, given that she's not the champion. I remember mentioning that, and I will still maintain that. I don't understand their motivation for looking after her, seeing as she's not the champion. But I
really like the idea. I said on the video a couple of weeks ago that I really like the idea. It should work. Maybe it's not working to the degree it needs to because they're working with Vega and she's not over.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
But I said on the video a couple of weeks ago, they've got loads of potential, and I agreed with you. It doesn't make sense. I think Chelsea should be the champ, and that would make more sense, and it could be more obnoxious and a bit like, JBL's cabinet. So I completely get all that. But yeah, I don't know if it's Selena Vega, maybe she's bringing people down. You know how you've got a super white hot face can bring everybody else up, but someone who's not over brings everybody down, don't they?
You just have to compare it to what's happening on Monday Night Raw with the IC title and what Lyra and Becky are doing, and then compare it to this feud. And as I've already said, Chelsea's well over, Zelina Vega's not, and the Hervis, Piper Niven and Alba Fire are not. But you can see that Julia's now going to go after the US title. I think that would probably be it now for Chelsea and Zelina. And hopefully Julia wins, and then she has some meaningful feuds and sort of raises the profile of the title. So then we have LA Knight coming out next, cutting a sort of filler mid promo regarding third time's a charm, Money in the Bank, goes for a few of the opponents. He's super over. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm not his biggest fan, but he is really over. The crowd were proper into it. He does have that fucking Austin/Rock. What's the word?
Vibe.
Likeness in terms of the way he delivers a promo. I'm not comparing him to them two at all, by the way.
He was very serious, I thought.
Yes, he was serious, wasn't he?
For him, which I thought was very interesting. Like I say, things don't happen by accident. So it'd be interesting.
Well, third match in a row, there is interference. He fights Aleister Black. Aleister Black, as we know, probably has one of the best, if not the best, ring entrance in the WWE at the moment. I think he's just fucking quality in the ring. He's amazing. It was a good match up until Seth came in with his cronies and beat the shit out of LA Knight. And then Aleister Black confronts Seth, doesn't he? And Breaker comes in and spears him. They chuck him out of the ring and go to town on LA Knight.
Stomp, spear, splash.
Tsunami. Stomp, spear, splash. Let's change it. An arse splash from Big Bronson.
Senton. That doesn't begin with C, does it? That begins with S. We'll have that. Did the job, didn't it? Put Seth and the boys over as this dominant faction, as you said, Andy and Dave, NWO-esque. They look amazing at the moment. They look unstoppable, but almost to the point where maybe they're setting it up for Seth to not win. Well, this is
tonight.
what I was thinking. Just a quick note to echo Alistair Black. I think he's fantastic. Kate made an interesting point. She said that when he talks, his promos, he sounds like Christopher Walken. And I've never noticed it before, but he does. So,
He does, yeah.
so Walken, Alistair Walken is his new name. Not, fine match. We all know what the point was. It was to get that smash up at the end. Not really sure who the heel or face was in this match. Bit confused to see those two fighting each other, but it was a really good match. And then, of course, the the Vision or whatever they're called coming out was fantastic, because it was just solidifying that they're not just one promo. They are going to take over the Super Show, which is seemingly what they're doing.
I think I do think they need a name. I'm kind of getting bored of not knowing what to call them. I've heard them be referred to as the Vision. I've referred to them as the Rollins Revolution, just because I thought it was quite fun. And I've also now heard them called the Message. I don't dislike the Vision or the Message, but pick one. Choose a name.
Well, I was going to sort of touch on that when they come out and do a promo just before the main event segment with Logan Paul and Jay and Cody. But Paul Heyman did say the future as well. So the Vision, the future. Yeah, I agree. They definitely need a name of some kind. Whatever they choose is going to be good, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you'd hope so.
Unless
it's going to be
whatever. Bum gardeners
or the Pure Fusion Collective, yeah.
Or the War Raiders.
Dear God, no.
What was next?
Next was Aldis and Pierce talking about King and Queen of the Ring tournament, which we've already touched on, to be fair. There was just a little backstage segment afterwards with Mangill getting interviewed, and then Charlotte Flair was there. Charlotte Flair was good on the mic there.
What a good saying. She said salt and sugar look the same, but you need to pick which one's your friend or something. Oh, choose that. I thought that was gold, actually.
Yeah. Or just don't have any friends. And then Tiffy sort of turns up, which leads us into the 6-man tag between Rhea, Vakir, and did they do a bit before? Oh,
there was a backstage segment with Chad Gable.
Gable, yes, sorry.
Who kept saying "see" every time.
Penta. Oh, right, yeah. Then they made the tag match between the Creed brothers and Andrade and Penta, didn't they?
See.
Yeah.
See.
See. And then
no, we'll talk about it when we get to that match. We'll talk about it because I've got a funny take that I saw yesterday about El Grande Americano. But yeah, so the 6-man tag match with all the women for Money in the Bank, which was Julia, Roxanne Perez,
Julia,
and Naomi.
Roxy, yeah.
And
Julia, Roxy,
Rhea,
and Naomi, and then
Alexa Bliss. That's the one.
Oh, how over were the Raw women in this match, by the way? The crowd went nuts for all of them when they had their entrances, especially, obviously, Mummy.
So I've got notes and takes in regards to not this match, because I thought the match was actually kind of just filler. It was fun. It was slosh. It was never going to be a catch as catch can, but it was fun slosh. The note I put down was quite literally, Stephanie has all of the rockets strapped to her ass at the moment, and is going to be world champ by year's end. Hopefully, if I have my way, she'll be the face to Rhea's heel. The Devil's Kiss exchange between her and Naomi going like sort of tempting that she might do it was quite funny. The DDT that Rhea took from Roxy, that thing looked fucking awesome. She sold the shit out of that.
That was incredible.
And actually looked legitimately like she hurt herself. She hasn't, which is obviously always good, but yeah, she really sold the shit out of that. But beyond that, I thought the match was just a bit. The end was funny where Naomi just bailed, but and let Roxy take all of the finishes. But yeah, it was.
The only thing I've got to add to that is Roxy's Russian leg sweep into a pin. The Russian leg sweep, Dave, you'll love this, but it's Bret Hart-esque watch
Yeah.
it back. It is fucking really good.
It's
She's
very
technically
good.
she's quality.
I've got that. They're two of my main points.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I'm not into Rhea Ripley, and I'm not into Stephanie Vakir. They're both very nice to look at. I'm just a bit bored of Rhea Ripley, and I don't like it when a wrestler's shoved down my throat, so to speak. Unless there's a big hurly-burly man.
But if you want to take a hurly-burly man down your throat, then we've got bigger issues, all right?
But no, as I already said earlier, Julia's quality and Roxy's quality, and Naomi. I'm really digging Naomi at the moment. Alexa Bliss was a bit meh. She got a massive pop when and I do like her music actually. But yeah, I still think that I've got a sneaky feeling that Stephanie Vakir might win tonight.
Well, I suppose I've got a couple of counts. I mean, I thought it was the match of the night for starters. It was certainly the most over match of the night. I get what you're saying about Rhea, but actually, she hasn't wrestled much. She did a little tour of Australia and a promotional tour. We haven't seen a great deal of her, so I'm not convinced she's being rammed down our throats. But
no, that was a Stephanie Vakir comment. Rhea, I'm just a bit bored of.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think. Yeah, well, she's got that. She's got a hell of a pop. I mean, and I just think she's in a different class to the rest of the women. She's almost at a China level, where she's just completely different level to the rest of the women at the moment. Whether that's over with the crowd or in the ring. And I agree with Andy. That DDT was phenomenal. But when she got the hot tag, the place just went absolutely berserk. Cleaned house. Gave everybody what they wanted, and yeah, great little finish at the end when Naomi sort of refused the tag, and actually you realise these guys aren't a team; they're going to face each other and Money in the Bank. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think it did everything it needed to do, and I'd be looking back on it. I can't see how it wasn't the match of the night. If that hadn't been on, we're pretty average on matches at the moment because Jim and JC was average. Piper and Vega was average. LA Knight and Black was okay.
I pretty much just didn't have a match of the night. I thought they were all of an average sort of quality, and didn't think that any one was particularly highlighted beyond the fact that, I would say in terms of the response from the crowd and the levity that it gave the women's Money in the Bank, maybe that tips this one above the rest, but beyond that I would say not one of them really shone. They were more like lowlights than highlights, JC and Jimmy being probably the lowest of the lowlights. But I kind of get what you're saying with regards to Rhea being sort of shoved down our throats. I think she could do with a bit of a refresh on her gimmick.
Can we just clear this up?
You said Stephanie was being shoved down our throats.
I'm just bored of Rhea Ripley. That's all.
I'm kind of at that point with Rhea. I would like to see a character refresh. I don't agree with what you said about Steph because she's not been shoved down our throats as far as I'm concerned. This is only her second week on the main roster. She's had a few matches.
She's appeared for the last month, hasn't she? And she's doing all things that Roman Reigns would have done back in the day, which is she's going to win everything.
It's because it's because of the shortable TikTok Devil's Kiss. That's all it's about. It's Booker T.
Exactly. It's one move. It's Jey Uso, right?
I thought she has a good entrance. I like her. I like her video with the horn.
She's a lot better in the ring than one move would have you suggest. And that one move is I agree that one move is being shoved down our throats because it's fucking everywhere. It's in everything.
Yeah.
I don't hate the move because, I mean, how can you hate the move? But I agree with what you're saying in that regards. It's a bit too much now, but I think just give it time, let that sort of phenomenon pass and see her body of work. And I think you may change your mind. I've never seen you change your mind, but you may change your mind.
All I will add to that is the way WWE is being run at the moment is all about being a business. And you can see what they've done with Jey Uso. You can see what they've done with Cody Rhodes. You can see what they're going to do with Stephanie Vakir. there is this one move, and it's not debating she's good in the ring, and yeah, it has only been a few weeks, but she is, by all accounts, one of their top faces already, and it's only been a couple of weeks. There's no doubt that she'll win the title. As far as Rhea Ripley, she's not shoved down our throats. I'm just bored with her character. And then I can't remember. It's either Wade Barrett or Tony Schiavone 2.0. Joe Testicle
Toss.
called her the most dominant woman in wrestling ever. I just don't agree. But it's different strokes for different folks. She's massively over, and she is fantastic. And her work with Dom and the Judgment Day was amazing, and I loved her then. But now she's turned into a face. It's just Fraz all over, isn't it? I'm not a big lover of faces. I'm a heel man. Yeah, I am a heel man, and I like it when they're naughty. What can I say?
He's a heel man.
So yeah, after this we had the JC and Solo interaction that we spoke about, where he just said, Solo had that incredible line, didn't he? He's all gas and no brains. And then
loved
Jacob walks out, doesn't he? So obviously that's I think Jacob will cost Solo. I think we've already seen tonight, interference central in every match other than the tag match, the 6-man tag, and the tag team match between Andrade and Penta and the Creed brothers. So I think he'll come out. It'll be spot central, obviously. He'll cost him. And then we had Bo Dallas or Uncle Howdy cut that cool promo about the tag division. And then we had four of the tag teams at the back with Nick Audi. Yep. And Gargano and Ciampa were quality. I'm not really into them, and I thought they were a bit nothing. But since they got Candice LeRae, they've been. I like them. I think they're cool. I know you guys both love them.
I thought it was quite funny. Generally, I thought that segment with all of the guys in the back was really, really good and really quite funny as a way of sort of like, well, you can face them. No, you can face them. No, you should face them. And it's like, well, it's kind of obvious how it's going to go. I think I even said it. Did I say it or did I write it down? I can't remember. But I think it's going to be one member of each team and then Candice against the White Six.
Two things. Where were Pretty Deadly and whose brotherhood is going to be tested? That's what I want to know.
Well, Pretty Deadly are going to be jobbers for the tag team division. And whose brother is going to be tested? All four teams, I would imagine. I thought the only two teams that I dislike in that segment are the Street Profits and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, the Guns
obviously,
came off
you know
a bit.
my love for Fraxium. The Guns came off a bit meh, and the Street Profits were, well, let's forget about the tag titles. Well, no, this is all about the tag titles, man.
I think that was their motivation, though, is to say, don't worry about these because we don't want you to worry about these. We want to take out White Six. It's like, no. We all want the titles. The White Six is a side issue. And it's like... Yeah.
They're just trying to distract away from.
Yeah, of course they are.
Going after them, very, very New Day-ish, but
for me,
which is fine, comedy gold.
Ciampa
but yeah,
and Gargano, they were the ones that shone there. Which is the final match of the night, tag match: Andrade Penta, Creed brothers.
Decent match.
Decent match. I'll give you my hot take that I heard yesterday, which was El Grande Americano is going to win Money in the Bank and then cash in on Helenko.
Vikingo,
that's it, yeah. That way Triple H doesn't have to deal with the creative issue of being backed into a corner and gives Triple A bit of a bump.
So Chad's going to lose.
Chad will lose,
but then El Grande Americano
win the MITB because there'll be so much interference in the match. He'll win. Yeah. Then he'll cash in on Valenko, whatever his name is. And then that way Triple H doesn't have to worry about what he's going to do with the men's briefcase for a long time because the women's sort of, as I've already alluded to in our prediction show, deals with itself. Any one of those women, if they win, you've got a lovely story there. Whereas
I will say that despite our Money in the Bank predictions video, I'm changing my pick to Naomi. But I'll happily take the loss if Naomi wins. But I agree, Naomi's winning that. Naomi's actually winning that, I think.
We're not changing our top 5 as we go live on air,
No.
Only Farry can do that.
As for Valenko,
check out future videos for that.
But back to
average match.
Yeah,
it's all right. I like all the participants, but I mean, I've actually got no notes of moves or anything specific in that one. It was an average match. It was a really good finish to the match, I thought. But and I'm not taking anything away from them, but it was just an average match, I thought. It's a Worlds Collide advert more than anything. But yet again, we have our NWO interference, our Vision interference. Should we I'll just call them NWO until they actually get a real name. Maybe that'll force them into getting a name.
2025. Yeah.
We'll just call them Triple S, Dave.
Triple S. Yeah, with a T.
No splash.
We'll worry about that another day. But yeah, obviously I forgot about that. They come out and clean house again. But I think we sort of alluded to it, and I'll let Andy talk about it because I know he wanted to talk about Heyman. But I thought the speech was fantastic from Heyman. I do think this show featured a lot of Roman Reigns without him being on the show. Seth mentioned it, I think, 3 times. Heyman alluded to Roman speeches or words that Roman would say or terms that we've come to know from Roman Reigns almost all through the promo. So are they making that too obvious, or are they just making sure we don't forget him? I don't know. But Andy, I know you want to talk about the Heyman speech, so go for it, mate.
I pretty much said it all earlier, I think, mate. I'm really glad that they gave Heyman the mic. I do think Heyman should be the voice piece of, the voice person for this group. Otherwise, why bother having him there?
Yeah.
If you're gonna, why buy a dog and bark yourself? I think is the age-old term.
Touche.
It's all well and good having Seth come out and do his, like I said earlier, I'm a revolutionary, I'm a visionary, blah, 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 blah. But Paul should be, after Paul's promo the other week with Jay, it showed once again that the best mic worker in the entire business right now is Paul Heyman, without a shadow of a doubt. Nobody invokes emotion and feeling like Paul Heyman.
Yep, I agree. I completely agree with that. I think that's... Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the promo of the night, I think, for me, until they get interrupted by Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I thought this was very. It was better than last week because obviously Seth and the boys came out, and as you say, Heyman was quality, but they had half an hour to work with when they interrupted and beat the fuck out of Penta and Andrade. Cody and Jey Uso, I think, took 8 minutes in entrances for Cody to come down, and then Jey came in. Jey literally said 4 words, 4 letters.
4 letters, 1 word. Yike.
We'll get that right one day. That's got to be his next T-shirt.
Yeah.
4 words, 1 letter.
I always say that. I don't know why.
I know.
4 words, 1 letter. Yeah. 4 words, 1 letter. I. Yeah, he's just... I don't know. He says, I don't know what to think about Jey Uso at the moment.
Do you know what?
I love Cody, and I get what you guys have been saying about Jey recently over the last few weeks, being super over and, house shows, etc., selling loads of merch. His entrance is super over. He's definitely down with the kids. But I don't know. I just can't get into it at the moment.
I'm loving him. I love him at the moment. I think it's good that we've got such an over face that people aren't 50-50 on as a whole. It's good to see the crowd going absolutely berserk for a face. I agree with you, Fred. I'm always been more of a heel guy, but you need a good face to have a good heel, and you need a good heel to have a good face. But I think he looks good with the belt. I think he fits well with the belt. I think with what's going on with Cena and his belt at the moment, and he's hardly there. I think I do. I think it's really good. I don't think he's going to lose the title this week on Monday.
No, I don't think he will. I don't think he will at all, mate. I totally
and I
100%
think he
agree
might
with you.
keep it at SummerSlam as well. Yeah, I just don't see it ending yet because it's working. Whereas last year, Damian Priest's title reign wasn't really working, and also Gunther's title reign didn't really work. There wasn't anything special out of any of them. Whereas, I think Jay's going to hold the title for a lot longer.
So, going back, I won't just cut it off there, but essentially I just wanted to make mention of the fact that at the very start of Jay's entrance, Seth stepped towards Cody and they had a very, very quiet conversation ear to ear, which I think was interesting, building perhaps to something. We may well hopefully get Homelander Cody, which is what I definitely want, a heel run with Cody. But I watched a video last night on Facebook. It was Paul Heyman talking in an interview with Inside the Ropes or something, and it was basically him saying, glazing Jay massively, talking about how since the Rumble, ticket sales have gone up with everything that he's advertised on, the minute-by-minute ratings, the hour-by-hour ratings, anything with him attached to it goes up. He's the top merch seller, 1, 2, or 3, and he is everything that they want at the moment, from a business standpoint, from an entertainment standpoint, and from a wrestling standpoint. He's doing things with kids. What more can we say?
4 kids.
4 kids.
But I don't think he's any worse in the ring than he ever has been. And
No.
I don't think he's any. I mean, look, we're not going to agree on styles of wrestling that we like. We know that. I much prefer older sort of style. Brett, Shawn, Angle, stuff that transcended the peak periods. I do find the modern day wrestling is too spot heavy, but it is what it is, and I still watch it. I still enjoy it. I just don't enjoy it as much in the ring product. I'm much more into the storylines and the entertainment now than I used to be. And I don't think he's doing anything wrong for what he's being asked to do. And he's better in the ring than a lot of former champions. There's been a lot of people that have held the belt that can't wrestle and can't entertain either. It's just a question of whether you find him and his character boring or not, I suppose. But he's ticking every box that needs to be ticked for a face champion at the moment. I don't think he's failing in any of them under the modern banner of what we watch as wrestling. No, he doesn't have 5-star matches, but plenty of WWE champions have not had 5-star matches, so it doesn't bother me either. Bums in seats, cash in wallets, over with the crowd. And if you like heels, you're going to want your heel to go up against Jey Uso because the crowd are going to be in it. That makes the match. Passion, emotion, all that kind of stuff is what you need. So if anything, you want to keep Jey over so that your heel guys that you like will potentially beat him and have an awesome match. So I'm all right with it. And I don't see him losing anytime soon, even after he got knocked out by Logan Paul.
Yeah, I just to finish it on that. There is nothing wrong with Jey Uso. It's just different strokes for different folks. As I say, you two are marks for Rhea Ripley. I'm not, and loads of people love Jey Uso, and as you both said, he does everything right from a business standpoint. I just would like to see him do more on the mic and be more confident and be less gimmicky. Even we've all had our criticisms of Mr. Seaman over the years, but at least he was good on the mic, and you felt engaged in whatever storyline he was trying to project. But with Jey Uso, I just feel it's a little bit of a tough sell at times, but because he is so over, and I agree, I don't think he'll lose to Gunther. I've actually changed my mind about who's going to win the tag match tomorrow. Unless the men's Money in the Bank match is on first, which I highly doubt it is. I think that'll be the main event tomorrow. But if that goes on first, then there is a chance that I think whoever wins MITB on the men's side will choose Jey Uso. Unless it's a way of getting the strap off Cena, but I think there's too many stories to tell there. There's an overarching storyline with Cena.
I think you can have... Sorry.
And I was just going to say, I don't think Cody will turn heel anytime soon, Andy.
No? Okay. The way to get the belt off Cena, or at least build to... If you're going to have Money in the Bank after Jey, let's say Seth, who wins King of the Ring, I think if you want to have that build towards a Cena match, I think it's got to be, if you're not going to pull the trigger on Cody straight away, you got to go Punk. Punk and Cena at SummerSlam is a hell of a main event. Like, that's going to sell.
That could
work.
work.
Sell tickets immediately.
How good would because they're 4-way matches, aren't they? So you could have Punk versus the entire Vision, but this all against all. Be an interesting dynamic. But yeah, Punk, King of the Ring, interesting. He hasn't got that on his resume. No. And I know we talk about who needs things and who doesn't need things, but sometimes someone who's done it all can still win if it makes sense. Like Brett winning in '93, if it makes sense, it's okay.
And being that he's such a massive Brett mark, he will want to have that on his resume. He definitely wants the fact that he will have been King of the Ring like Brett.
I think that's a good shout, and I think the fact that they advertised the King of the Ring this week on SmackDown and not on Money in the Bank or the week after sort of almost overshadows Money in the Bank. It leads into those rumours that Triple H is not a big Money in the Bank fan, whereas we know he's a King of the Ring fan, because it gives you more opportunity with a structured story. So, yeah, I think this is going to be really interesting. Big plans for the King of the Ring.
Should we just quickly
wrap up the show, guys, and talk about Cena and Logan Paul? There was a few bits from Cena that I thoroughly enjoyed when the crowd were shouting, "We want truth," and then he shouted, "You can't handle the truth." Big shout out to A Few Good Men. Great film.
Great film.
Logan Paul slipping off the top rope was funny.
Great frog splash. Great frog splash. And the pulverizer.
And the pulverizer. I told you, it's a real thing.
And the pulverizer.
It's not just a CD movie that I've seen. But yeah, winners write history books and losers go home and do fuck all. It was ultimately the message. I did like... I don't see how they're going to... Because it almost, as you say, Jay's not going to lose against Gunther, and that just kind of... Sorry, yeah, he's not going to lose against Gunther, and it almost solidified that with... I don't know what I'm talking about. With Logan Paul getting the brush from John Cena, especially at the end when they're holding the titles. Very dominant.
Very heel dominant show.
Yeah, for the
Cena
first
did
time
everything.
in a long time, Cena got the upper hand before a pay-per-view.
He did. John did everything in that promo except suck Logan's dick.
Yeah.
I mean, short of literally getting down on his knees and sucking him off, I don't think there was anything more he could have done. He gave him such a shine, and which I thought was very odd, because it was like I had watched a Karrion Kross video earlier in the night about how like Hunter is like, and Khan and everyone are giving this YouTuber all of the opportunities because they're viral, and Karen was like, well, any one of us can go viral. Any one of us in the back can go viral at any moment. I've proven that by going viral so many times with what I've said over the last few months. So why not give the shine or give the opportunity to one of us? And it's like, this was to highlight the fact that it doesn't matter. Logan Paul is still the one that everyone wants to see. And it's like, it's a shame because other people do deserve the spot, but Logan's put in eyes on the product, and that's
I would
leap
to the defense there of Logan Paul and what Karrion Kross said. He's talking out of his fucking ass, because Logan Paul's not just viral. Like, he's been doing it for fucking 10 years. He is what he says he is. He's a YouTube sensation. He's the megastar. Is that LA Knight, actually? But yeah, he's huge compared to, we could all go viral. What, you get a few 100,000 hits on a TikTok that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Short.
Yeah.
But Logan and Logan Paul again is proving that he's sticking around. He's there most weeks. He's improving in the ring, on the mic, and in matches. If people are bitter about the fact that he's getting a push over other people, work harder. You know, that's my mantra in life. You know, don't just sit there and moan about it. Do something about it. And if he's not getting the opportunities in WWE, well, then go elsewhere and come back and reinvent yourself. Cody's proved it. Drew's proved it. So many people have proved it, haven't they? I get where the hate is from for Logan Paul, but I just think he's there. There's nothing you can do about it. It's very similar to modern day life where people moan about your electricity bill or your fuel costs. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to work harder to earn more money. Exactly the same goes for Logan Paul.
Yeah, and I don't get why people are hating on it, because we've had 10 years of part-time top talent, right? Really, since Brock Lesnar came back. After WrestleMania 28, you know, and he worked this part-time schedule, and he's winning title after title. He's in main event after main event. He's main event in WrestleMania. He's all over the shop. Roman Reigns has done the same for the last 5 years. It's like, oh, well, it's okay if we like the guy, but if we don't like the guy, then it's shit. And you're like, well, no, they're doing their job. Brock did his job, brought eyes to the prize, legitimised WWE to a degree. Roman Reigns did the same. I'm not saying that Logan legitimises WWE, but like you say, he's in a completely different league when it comes to getting eyes on the product than someone just, you know, saying something a bit funny backstage one week. So I agree. Personally, I hate the guy as a person, as a human being, but he's doing his job as a heel, isn't he? Because everybody hates him.
Yeah, 100%. He's doing nothing but that. He's propelling the product to different levels. And if he wins the title, then it will just get bigger. And as we've all probably read and heard this week, TKO seem to be in a bit of trouble. So the more eyes on the product, the more they sell, the less likely it is that they're going to sell it back to Mr. McMahon. Which is what I've heard. Hasn't he selling like $250 million worth of shares? Khan sold some shares as well, and there's rumours that he's going to buy back the WWE and create a new company.
When that happens, I will stop watching wrestling. I don't want that guy anywhere near any product.
No, you'll just watch AEW.
I'll just watch AEW, and you'll get a 5-minute recap of AEW each week from me. And I'll be more than happy to do that.
Amazing. Okay,
anyway.
Gentlemen. Well, if you have no more thoughts on Vince McMahon or Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso, then thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, subscribe, share. We've got 4 videos up at the moment. So please, if you would, watch them, share them, and we'll see you on our Money in the Bank review, which will be coming out shortly. Thank you very much. Love you lots. Bye-bye. Adios, amigos. Señor, señorita. Cheers, bye.